Okay, guys, this is a two-part video. I will put a timestamp if you just want to skip to the Comicsgate stuff. It'll be at minute 5 or something. Because if I want to do them out of order, this kind of issue about the cheesecake first, because if I do the Comicsgate stuff first, I get too mad. And then when I kind of do this thing, it sounds kind of weird, because I'm coming from something where I'm a little heated under the collar. Okay, if you want to enter the art contest and you want to ink that image of a skull, or to send me your own art that you will donate to the channel, it means I get to use it, and you have a right to legally donate it. It's your work. You have the right to alienate it. Right now, there are 2 people in the art contest to ink the skull, and I think the odds are pretty good, and the prize is pretty good too. And there's only 2 people in it, so hey, one of them's gonna get the prize. So it's probably going to be a graphic novel at the convention coming up in 2 weeks. So I'll get some graphic novels and I'll get them signed. So it's pretty much the best odds contest in the world, where there's 2 people entering to ink a skull, and you get something pretty kick-ass. And one guy lives in the UK, so like the book will cost me $20-$25, and the shipping will cost me $30 to $40. So this is I may have to rethink the next one. Anyway, I want to thank the Patreon who started me off on Patreon. That was very kind of you. Okay, this is a comic book called The Muse, and it brought to mind the problem with naughty characters. When is it too naughty? This guy's a phenomenal artist. I realize this video is not going to get a lot of views, but this topic interested me because I wrote a book last year and then a bunch of stories using the same set of characters based off my own friends who are absolutely filthy, degenerate animals, myself included. The book was a horror comedy about zombies. I figured that if I ever won the lottery, I could make a movie for $1 million, much in the style of Special Dead, which is an excellent comedy that was made for about $600,000. Just a very, very good use of their money. They filmed it entirely on a ranch, and it was especially when you're considering what it costs. Even without what it cost, it was a legitimately flat-out funny movie, and to do it for $600,000 is just amazing. I kind of got in my mind, I was like, well, if I could get $1 million together, it'll never happen, but I could do something like that. So I was kind of writing this book, and it's kind of a script for a movie, and then thought kind of I could make it a graphic novel. It'd probably be better suited to a graphic novel than anything else, because that I probably could fund. That's probably only $40,000. They filmed the movie Special Dead entirely on a ranch, and it was just a phenomenal success. I even thought of opening a GoFundMe. Hey, I need $1 million to make a sexy horror comedy. I wondered what would happen if someone actually funded the project. I guess I would be a director, a writer. I don't know. I guess I'd be the writer and have to hire a director. Yeah, it kind of reminds me when I was reading someone's comic graphic novel, reviewing it, and I said I found some grammatical errors, and I'm by no means a grammar expert. And I said something like, yeah, you should be able to find someone to edit your book. And I said, well, I'll edit your graphic novel for free. So someone sent me an email and said, well, okay, you said you do it for free, but I'll pay you. And I said, no, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free as long as it's not a novel-length book, but like a graphic novel, a comic, yeah, absolutely. I'll correct the grammar to the best of my ability. So they took me up on it. So now I am an editor. That will be interesting. I'll let you know when that book comes out. Anyway, when I wrote the book, I always assumed it would be PG, but it wasn't long before the first sex scene crept into the story. 2 of the characters they meet at a comic convention, where zombie Mark Waid eats Ethan Van Sciver, Mags Usagio eats your boy, Nurkish bravely sacrifices Cecil by throwing him to the zombies so he can save himself. And this was, like I said, last year. This was a long time ago when everyone was getting along. So this couple, they escape the convention. They flee to a cabin to ride out the end of the world. And I heard that after stressful, life-threatening events, people will have sex because it's like a biological drive to reproduce or something. For the tribe, it's just millions of years old. But once you put a sex scene in a story, it changes the appropriate age of the audience. But the first sex scene wasn't graphic. I try to keep it cool. They started, then it kind of faded to black. But as the story increased into an actual novel-length story, more sex scenes kind of found their way in, and they got more graphic until the last one, where it is full-on degeneracy. I can't even describe it on YouTube. I don't. It was. It involves a transsexual and a lot of whips, and I just kind of figured, why not cut loose on it and have fun with it. And it is fun. It was the book is funny and sexy. I figured if I ever did a graphic novel, I'd just cut out the adult stuff and stick with the comedy. I could release the X-rated version on one of those adult literature sites where people will rate you and give you feedback after they clean up. See, that's my joke, and that's in at 6 minutes. So people, I don't know, they watch on average about 6 minutes. So I hope they heard that joke. Get it after they clean up. Ignited is Mark Wade and Kwanzaa Diversity Hire Osa Jessel Cancer Baby. It's by Humanid. Is that the publishing company? And if you look at the other Humanid books, humanoid books, they have a bunch of soft and hardcore books and Cheesecake books, which this book definitely is Cheesecake. I found this book with this stunning image of a beautiful girl on the cover. So naturally, I checked it out. It's not really adult. It's more just naughty. So you don't need to report the video and get me age restricted like on my last video. And like I said, if you send me your Indiegogo campaigns, you want me to use them for a background image, I'll totally do it. No problem. It's funny, there's that one video I was using background someone's Indiegogo, and it was I don't know, I had girls in, I don't know what it was, like sexy vampire girl type of things, and they're in their underwear or something like that. And it was one video where I was totally complimentary. I was extolling the virtues of EVS and all the great things he's done for Comicsgate by helping people out, and just, I'm sure the people who hate him just thought I was kissing his ass, and like you can't please everyone all the time. But I was just being honest. I was saying, yeah, he's done a lot of good things, and I was talking about him. That's the one video that got age restricted, which means if it got 150 views, and that's all the views it'll ever get. So anyway, this book is kind of a sexy steampunk fantasy. It's not really adult. It's not, nothing happens. The artist is really good at drawing women, like Mike Miller level almost. It's not prawn. There is a fun story, and the issue is how much cheesecake is too much. And sometimes, I can't believe I'm saying this, less is more. You don't want to just have a picture book. You want to have a story in there. And when I say less is more, I mean you don't need to draw multiple images of the character in very similar poses. That kind of thing feels too self-indulgent. It feels like you've got a range of motion. Oh, that is a phenomenal image. I will say that. It feels like you got a sketchbook where you're showing range of motion, time-lapse photograph of the body walking, that kind of thing. You don't need to do that. I mean, it's better to spend your time on one stunning image like this and then just concentrate on the story. People are also here for the cool steampunk images. They want to know what life is like in this fantasy world. The book feels underwritten. People don't want pure cheesecake. You can get that for free online, and you can get pretty much anything else too. People want a story with little romance and some sex appeal. Plus, a steampunk book has to have a bunch of those cool, bizarre contraptions. I think the goal is to write a balanced story, not just, essentially a cheesecake calendar with a lightweight story attached to it. This, obviously, this guy knows how to draw women very, very well. But, it feels like, at least in this first few issues, it's just too much of her and not enough of this cool background stuff. But, look at that. That is a phenomenal drawing. And he's not putting a whole lot of detail in there. I wonder what the pencils look like on this. That's it. I mean, he really is doing a lot. Obviously, it's over the top. Just guy really, really likes breasts. And I know I'm always, reading these Marvel comics that are just garbage. And I'm always saying, they don't, the women are like 5'6", 120 pounds, and just not, they're just like A and B cups, and they just, it's okay to have some sex appeal. And if you're into this, like this over the top, just, you know, her cup overfloweth, fine, that's cool. But you should, I mean, there's more to the story than just her. I mean, once you've shown an image like that, you know, this, you don't need to do this again. I mean, you just showed it on a couple panels ago. Look at that, guys. That is some very, very good work. Even the hair, the whole thing, the framing, everything works for this guy. He really knows what he's doing. But it's just too much of her, too much sex. I can't believe I'm saying that. These characters are, finally when you get to these characters, I want to know more about them. I guess they do some tailoring, and their backstory is more interesting because by the time we get to them, it's kind of a relief because there's too much of her. I know that sounds ridiculous, but anyway, okay. So now on to the Comicsgate thing, which is at 10 minutes. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll timestamp this 11 minutes. My first writing of this was a bit too inflammatory. And this is actually, I made the video earlier, I listened to it, I realized, no, I'm not going to keep putting videos up where I just have to take them down and lose. Yeah, that last video I put up for like an hour, I just lost a bunch of subs, which is, you know, it's not fun to lose subs, but I got them back, but... And I regret the video, and so like anyway, this is the third time I'm making this. I'll try to be as diplomatic. Okay. The first and second one, I was just burning bridges, and then I was nuking the roads. I figure I'm going to save it for a dark roast over the Christmas holidays. I was so angry that I was using childish ad hominems. What got me going was I heard a creator disparaging the Christian right wing of Comicsgate, which I thought it odd that he would attack Christians because that is a common thing for the SJWs to attack. Then this creator called them alt-right, and I started to get a wee bit warm under the collar. This is a guy who I had bent over backwards defending because no matter my personal feelings, I believe in the principles of due process. Oh, hush, dog. And defamation in the whisper networks, they injure your reputation and future potential earnings. So to hear this person, originally I wrote spineless pussy, then I crossed that out and wrote spineless jellyfish, and then I crossed it out and wrote person, because I'm, I guess, a spineless pussy myself. Turn around and call the people who defended him Nazis seemed a bit ironic. I thought that was one of the guiding principles of Comicsgate. Not to call people Nazis. Isn't that what we got mad at Mark Waid for? That he was calling you boy and the rest of us that? Am I alone in being pissed off? If Comicsgate had any dogma, I would say it's 1, don't call the customers that word. 2, comics free of Marxist propaganda. Anywhere you want to go from there is fine, but I would say that's the two absolute firm planks to our foundation. That's it. And then I see the guy that I defended turn around and call his old friends the very thing he was accused of. See, I'm getting myself all pissed off, and this is... Okay, and I said some more things here that I'm not going to say about, you know, lack of backbone and complete spineless jellyfish. But, you know, I got a little mad at him. I got a little mad at myself because people were telling me how this creator wasn't what I thought he was. I have to admit that there's some truth in that statement. This guy really loves boobs. I'm not mentioning his name. I thought about titling this The Elephant in the Comicsgate Room, but I won't. I'm not mentioning his name because the principle applies to everyone, and I realized that without the name of the title, the video was going to get 50 views, and with the name in it, it would probably get 500 views. To see a big member of Comicsgate do a 180 and turn into an SJW, have we become SJWs? Not the group, but some of us members have. I understand that why there's a small but growing core group of Comicsgate originals who are feeling like they were just used to line someone's pockets. Well, guys, not everyone who jumps in Comicsgate is going to be a white hat. There are going to be scammers, late projects, or books that promise a certain page count and then underdeliver. With certain people, Zach, involved in a lawsuit, a lawsuit with that panty-sniffing pervert Mark Waid. God, what a degenerate. There are mitigating circumstances, but if your book is late because you can make more money on YouTube, then we have a bit of what some people might call deceit. If we buy a book, we expect you to work on it, not spend hours a day on Twitter and 2 to 3 hours a day on YouTube. And of the two, on YouTube, I can understand because you're making money on YouTube, but Twitter, you're just there for your own ego. And I'm not picking out anyone in particular. This applies to a lot of people. Twitter's not worth it. People saw that behavior and they thought, well, this guy's... Okay, originally I said, what a greedy asshole, but I was a little heated. I'll say, they see that and they think, well, did you take advantage of us? Because once the creator knows that they have the customer on the hook for the book, they can delay for a year and make those sweet, sweet super chats. Then to deliver a book that is less than perfect is a slap in the face to the customers. The cherry on the cake is that he turned around and calls other people who defended him Nazis. All right. 16 minutes. All right. I got a little pissed off on this. Obviously, this is the third time I did it, and I don't even know if this video is going to go out because I'm getting a little heated. But if nobody's going to say anything, I mean, shouldn't we criticize ourselves? Shouldn't we be free to criticize ourselves? And hey, if some things need a course correction, that we don't have to be afraid of certain people because, I mean, otherwise we're just, I mean, if you're calling fellow comicsgaters Nazis, then, well, how does it make you any different than the SJWs? How does it make you different from Mark Waid? I heard that and my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe he said that, and nobody called him on it, and whatever. All right, guys, I'll see you next episode.